Guys, as you all know, I tend to avoid random drama and gossip unless I feel like it actually leads to a bigger point, and I think this actually leads to a bigger point, so I'm gonna talk about it. So, there has been a lot of stuff going on when it comes to Candace Parker. Number one, Candace Parker, the GOAT. She had a legendary WNBA career with both with the LA Sparks, with Chicago Sky, and the brief time that she was healthy with the Las Vegas Aces. She has won 3 WNBA championships. This is someone who, when you look at stats in the WNBA, usually Candace Parker is on that list. When you see players, you see them say, oh, this XYZ player has reached number 3 on whatever list, usually on that list in the top 5 is Candace Parker. Candace Parker is everywhere because she was fantastic, right? She was a post player who could do a little bit of everything, and it was fantastic to see. She's great. Candace Parker, legend, GOAT. Everybody loves Candace Parker. And sometimes when you are at the top, right? Sometimes when everyone seems to love you, you stay around long enough for people to be mad at you, right? There's a phrase, I can't remember exactly what it is, but like, something like you live long enough to become a villain, right? And to some people, that is what Candace Parker is turning out to. But I have some commentary about this and like an interesting take, I think, that I want to talk about. So, Candace Parker, what in the world is going on with Candace Parker? Well, if you all do not know, this drama actually started a little bit ago. I would say a couple of weeks ago, I want to say. So Candace Parker, about a month ago, she was on a couple of podcasts, right? And she talked about her list of WNBA players, right? And she talks about how there's certain tiers for WNBA players, right? She talks about tiers of WNBA players, which, of course, everybody has a tier, right? So we see Candace, who puts certain players in different tiers. So she's like, there's a S tier, there's a A tier, right? There's a B tier, there's a C tier, there's a D tier, right? You get it, right? So like S tier, you got Nafisa Collier, you got Breanna Stewart, right? You got Asia Wilson, right? In the S tier. These are the elite of the elites, right? Then you got the A tier, that is Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, right? You got Paige Beckers and Arike Gumawale as a duo getting placed in that B tier. You have in the C tier, you got Angel Reese, you got Cameron Brink. And when she said that, people went crazy, right? There was a blast of people saying that Candace was throwing shade on Angel, that she hates Angel, that all this other stuff around her dissing Angel Reese by putting her in a C tier. Now, you may disagree. But what's the purpose of ranking anything for people to talk, right? The reason why you say, here's my tiers, is because you want people to know your specific perspective and you want people to talk about it, right? It's just a thing. It's just a thing. And people talk. People went crazy and like went wild in some of the stuff that they said like about Candace, and like specifically some people who were just doing ad hominem attacks for disagreeing with Candace, right? And then Candace appears on Good Follow, which is a really good podcast, and she talks about it. She talks about the backlash that she got with the commentary that she had to say about Angel, and I want to share part of that video. I want to share part of that video, and I want to share what happened yesterday that like brought this back up, and then we will talk through my take on this and what I think is the issue with WNBA related media. Okay. But first, let's actually go to the conversation that Candace Parker had with Ros Gold on Wude. Okay.
It's so crazy because I didn't even know this. And then I am on my Instagram and I see comments underneath. I think, and I know you're getting to this question.
No. I was going to say, people were saying, oh, you're an Angel Reese hater. And I'm like, first of all, I'll just let you answer. What's your response to that?
No, I think my response is in no intention. I'm not a hater. I think it's just commenting on the player. That's what it comes down to, is they ask me my opinion on player tiers. And my thing is then if you bring something to the argument, bring something else. Can she get to player A or player S or whatever? Yes, she can. Yes. Right now, I don't know if she's alongside those players in B's, and you're measuring her against players that have been in the league for years.
Right.
And so I think that, I've faced it on the men's side when people attack you for what you look like or who you are, that's usually not coming with a solid argument. And so I'm willing to debate. I love it. Tell me I'm wrong, but bring facts to the table. And so that's the biggest thing. There's no hate on Angel Reese. I love her. She plays for the Chicago Sky. I saw her at my jersey retirement versus LA. So it's nothing like that. But I think it's so interesting in this female space, the need to have to explain some of these things like that you don't see, where we worked with the guys at Turner where they come on and they say stuff that.
So it continues from there, and you watch the actual podcast. I think it's a really good listen. Again, Good Follow is another really good podcast out there that's getting awesome interviews with players. That's just overall really good commentary. And here's the thing: there's so much in the world of women's basketball. And when you can hear directly from players, it's always really, really cool. And Good Follow, they're able to get these awesome interviews that one day I hope to get as well, but absolutely listen to Good Follow. All right, and also listen to the full episode of that podcast. And she just continues on from there. Basically the argument is it's a basketball take. I don't hate anybody. I'm just saying my basketball opinion, and you all may disagree. You all may have other reasons to disagree, and that's totally fine. But that's my take, right? So that outrage was a thing for that, and eventually it kind of faded away, and then it came back yesterday. It came back yesterday when promoting the new show, Post Moves. Post Moves is a new podcast hosted by both Aaliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever and Candace Parker. So Post Moves, they're two post players, so makes sense for the name of the show. And here's the thing that you all have to consider. All right, when you are launching a show, when you're launching a new show, especially podcasts, you have to make a splash in the market, right? You don't have to. Well, this is what people usually do. People usually have to figure out a way to make a splash. You have to get some sort of gimmick to get people to watch. Some sort of thing that's culturally relevant in the moment that's going to make people be like, you know what? I wasn't planning on watching this, but I need to watch it, right? Because you need to get people hooked because it's a new show. New show, you have to sort of build that appetite from people fast, okay? Post Moves is a new show. They announced it during around All-Star, WNBA All-Star, and it's a new thing. So episode 1 is coming out today. And so as a new show does, especially if you have famous people on your show, you put out a series of videos to get people excited, and you put out what's known by some as a sizzle reel, kind of to get people to be like, oh, that seems awesome, let me check it out. And that's what we saw yesterday from Post Moves, right? And I want to specifically talk about what was posted on their social yesterday, and then talk through the whole details of it. Okay, so this is what was posted yesterday on Post Moves. As you can see, the thing that they put is as the caption is, "Oh, we getting spicy. New episode tomorrow morning." Because again, you're trying to draw that reaction. You're trying to draw a reaction from people to get people to actually watch the full show, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get up the excitement overall, all right? And so here is what was said.
I in no way, shape, or form am a hater. What player are you taking Angel Reese over of those that I just listed?
Guess we'll wait for their response.
I won't say All-Star games because the game, I'm going to be honest with you, Leah, it was awful. But
what do you mean?
The actual game? Are you kidding me? What made you take Caitlin Clark's drink?
You just never, that's just who I am. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're going to be on camera. Let me just slide this out the view so we don't have to worry about it. No one has to see it.
So yeah, that was posted yesterday. Which again, if you all follow how people launch stuff, podcasts, new shows, that's what they do. What you want to do is you want to capture some of the biggest moments in the culture of whatever you're talking about to get people to watch. Now, what did they capture in these the 3 different clips they used for this show? What did they capture? They captured talking about Angel Reese because Candace was all on social getting flamed for the commentary she said about Angel Reese and saying who would you take over, right? Who would you replace her with and whatnot, like that, and then the focusing on Aaliyah Boston and her touching her glasses, like that is kind of like marketing 101. It just is marketing 101, right? You are trying to again get people in their emotions and get people riled up on either side, on whatever opinion, to actually watch, right? So you talk about Angel Reese because Angel Reese is a big name when it comes to women's basketball. You like when you talk about Angel Reese, you get clicks. So talk about Angel Reese and talk about specifically what Candace said about Angel Reese. So that's going to get a lot of attention. Boom, got that checked off. Then talk about All-Star because that's a relevant thing that just happened and people talked about how bad it was, and so boom, you got that again. So that's a lesser extent of a exciting thing, but you got that. And then number 3, Caitlyn. Of course, you got to talk about Caitlyn. You cannot have the podcast, the teaser for the podcast end without talking about Caitlyn. And again, a huge benefit to having a player like Aaliyah Boston on there is you get the attention that the Indiana Fever has. You get the additional attention that Aaliyah Boston has had due to being a teammate of Caitlyn, right? And so, of course, you're going to ask about Caitlyn and give Aaliyah Boston an opportunity to talk something about Caitlyn adjacent. So, like, it makes sense why they did what they did. Like, from a marketing perspective, I watched this video and I was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense to me. Now, they are again, I do marketing. So, like, I get why they did what they did. Are they using Angel's name for additional attention? Absolutely they are. Absolutely they are. And if you are launching a new show, again, you have to do that in a way. So that's why that happened. We are probably going to see we're going to see the episode later today, right? We're going to see it and who knows? Maybe they talk about this Angel Reese thing for 1 minute and they grab the clip from that 1 minute, right? And that's what it is. I get why it happened. And I got to say, that's the way promotion goes in a lot of ways. That's the way launches goes in a lot of ways. Even when Angel launched her podcast, right? In the first episode, she talked about Caitlyn a little bit. Because again, that's what's relevant in the culture, right? You may not like that fact. It is what it is. Right? And you all may have an opinion about it, and that's fair. Rosalinda says, do you think they can go too far? Absolutely. Yes. But yeah, I'm going to listen to the full episode today whenever it drops, and then I'll come up to my conclusion of like what I really think about it. But yeah, they can go too far with that. They can go far. They can go far with that. And so it's one of those things where, you kind of have to say certain things and whatnot, and truly, is it annoying? Yeah, kind of. I mean, I would think it'd be better if we heard just if the clips were like more like focus on what the Indiana Fever are doing and how in the world are they going to figure out a way to still get to the finals with the roster that they have, with the changes that they have, like that. To me, like that would have been a really awesome teaser to hear about, hear Aaliyah Boston specifically talking about that. But would that get a lot of views and whatnot? I don't think it would. This, talking about Angel, does get the views, right? That's why they led with that to start the promo. Is it annoying? Yes, but it is what it is. That's how the media business works. It's how it works, right? So I have no idea if they went into a room and was like, okay, What are the biggest things that we can talk about for our first episode? Okay, Angel. Candace, you were talking about Angel before. You were in the news and blah blah blah. Let's talk about that again, right? Aaliyah, we got to say something about Caitlyn, right? And then we gotta check all these other boxes, right? Do I think Candace Parker hates Angel? No, I don't. I really do think that Candace Parker originally had a take that people just disagreed with, right? Some people disagreed with, right? And I think in general, we should normalize it being okay for a commentator to have an opinion that you don't like. Not ad hominem attacks, not I don't like the way she looks, or XYZ, or, like, not ad hominem. But I am saying that it is okay for someone to say that they rate another player over your favorite player. That's actually okay. Like I think that as we've kind of like continued on with WNBA fandom, it gets to a point where if you don't think my favorite player is the best thing since sliced bread, you hate them. You don't like them. You are terrible, and blah 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 blah. Right? That's what you get. And I don't get it. Right? Like I think it's kind of weird. I think it's kind of weird. That's to say that is the talk about Angel in this podcast specifically to drive clicks and views? Absolutely. Yes. So is this topic about Angel getting dragged for viewership and for listens? Absolutely. It is what it is. It is what it is. So you may not like it, but that's just is what it is. But originally, I do just think it was just a take that people disagreed with, and that's fine. That's fine. Let's see. Slice says, Quita, this generation is so soft. Candace Parker didn't say anything wrong. Golly. I mean, yeah. Again, they're specifically using this for marketing, which again I understand. And two, yeah, she put Angel in the C tier. Now, do I think that Angel Reese is one of the like a top player in the WNBA right now? Absolutely. Do I think that she's going to wind up being probably on a second team all WNBA? I could totally see that happening for this season, right? Do I think that she outplays vets who've been in the league for years and years and years and years? Yes. Do I think that anybody in the WNBA has figured out a way to out-rebound Angel? No, they haven't. Angel Reese is an elite player, right? Now, you may disagree, and you may think that she's higher than C, but that was the C level, and that's what Candace Parker gave her. I don't think Candace was hating on her, but I do think they are dragging the situation to get views and attention, which, again, makes sense from a marketing perspective. It makes sense. It makes sense. Again, you're trying to build a new show that has 0 followers to start, and you have to sort of build that attention. And so I get it. It makes sense. But yeah. Ms. Goody Two Shoes says, Candace has mentioned Angel in all of her recent interviews and podcasts. I've listened to several Candace podcast interviews. I don't think I've listened to them all. But yeah, sometimes Angel Candace is specifically asked about Angel, and so of course, if you're asked about somebody, you gotta respond, and then sometimes you volunteer information, right? And so yeah. BMA says, how was Angel dragged? Some people think that she was dragged because she was listed in that C tier. Again, I don't think that's dragging someone. I think that's literally just giving a basketball opinion. And that's okay. And you all may disagree and say your argument. Not say your argument about why you hate Candace Parker, because supposedly Candace Parker hates Angel Reese. But say your argument about where you would place Angel, or why specifically you disagree. Diaspora says, it is what it is, doesn't mean it should be acceptable. Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's the reality of media. That's the reality of how things work, right? Why do you think the clips of the most salacious things said in podcasts gets those same podcasts a whole bunch of views and whatnot? Because like those little clips are done for a reason, to garner attention, to get people to stop and look and whatnot. Okay, so no, I don't think Candace Parker defamed Angel. No, I don't think that this is a grand conspiracy of like people banding up to go against Angel. What I do think, this is a person who said her opinion, her basketball opinion, that people disagreed with, and they're using that to foster attention for a new podcast. I think that's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is, in my opinion. Now, again, some of y'all may disagree with me. All right, some people may listen to me and say that, and some people may disagree with me and say that, I hate Angel because I'm not bearing down Candace's throat, right? Or that I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of people who have lots of thoughts, and that's understandable. It's totally understandable. Totally get it. Master Sergeant says that's clout chasing. I mean, it is, but it works. So that's why people do it, right? Is it unfortunate? Yeah, absolutely. But it is what it is, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it is what it is, Quinn says, no, Kiki is not better than Angel. No. No. No way. Nope. All right? There is a select few of post players that are better than Angel Reese in the WNBA. A select few, okay? She's very good at what she does, and she's not just a rebounder, right? It's just a thing, right? It's just a thing. Kiki is good. I didn't say Kiki wasn't. I'm saying that I don't think that Kiki is better than Angel. I don't. Now, some people may say, "Oh, Quita's hating on Kiki because she doesn't think Kiki's better." No, I really just don't think she's better, right? So yeah. So we'll see what happens in the future, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. All right. That's it. That's the stream. The Iwanzi family says Angel Reese is a generational talent that continues to improve every year. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. She is. Right? Not just and she's not just a rebounder either. Like people keep trying to put her in that mark of, oh, she's just a rebounder, she's just a double and blah blah blah. No. Like Angel Reese is a really good player. She's a really good defender, right? She is someone who has a motor for days and just doesn't give up, right? She can see angles of where the ball is falling on the rim to get the rebound, and she's a facilitator. Dog, what we talking about? So some people are wild, right? Some people are wild. Anyway, that's the stream. I ain't got nothing. Oh, we got some super chats. Let me get to these super chats. Thank you so much to Albert for the super chat. Says, why does New York face a rested Minnesota team while they are playing their fourth game in 6 days and traveling to 2 different cities on their only 2 days off? Well, that's the schedule. We have a record number of WNBA games this season, and if the WNBA does not either severely extend the season or lower the amount of games, this will continue. Every team has a stretch this year, or multiple, where they're playing a bunch of games in a small amount of time and they have to travel, back and forth. That's a thing. Unfortunately, it happens. It unfortunately happens, especially this year is the worst year ever that we've seen that. The worst year ever. And the only way to fix that is for the WNBA to say we're either lowering the amount of games or we're extending the season, which is something that Kathy Engelbert did say they're thinking about. And so that's a huge possibility. But they're going to have to extend it quite a bit, which goes into NFL and whatnot. And also, guys, think about the amount of new teams that are entering the WNBA. It's going to be hard, and we're going to see more non-rested teams. We're going to see more injuries because the season is just too condensed. It's too condensed right now. And it's not just affecting New York. It's affecting every team in the W, unfortunately. And the WNBA has to do something to stop that. D-Time, thank you so much for the super chat, says, along with a rivalry, do y'all think that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese dating preference contributed to their popularity and animosity from players? No, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't get it. Between the two? I don't know. I don't think so. L Downs, thanks so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Salute to you. Thank you. Henry says, Quitty, can you imagine how crazy the schedule is going to be in the next Olympics year? Yeah. And the schedule, because last year was an Olympic year. And last year actually wasn't that bad. It was not great, But it wasn't that bad. Like, this year is actually worse than last year, which is weird, considering the fact that last year was an Olympic year, this year is not, but also you did add a new team this year, and last year did not have a new team. And so, like, that's something to note as well. All right? Anyway. Thank you so much for rocking with me. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a neighbor, tell a friend, and yeah, that's it. That's the stream, guys. That's the stream. All right. Yeah. My point exactly. Yeah. I read it. I didn't read it before I read it, and so like I was like, wait, what? No. It's a weird. It's. I think we should, focus on basketball. All right. I think we should focus on basketball. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Yeah. Let me know your take on whatever I talked about in the comments, and I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Ready, set, go.